Okay, I'll call the January 20th meeting to order. Daisy, can you confirm that the Kansas Open Meeting Act required notice has been properly provided?
Yes, I can confirm that the packet was posted and the required notice was provided.
Okay, thank you, Daisy. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Rogers.
Here.
Commissioner McFadden.
Here.
Commissioner Mikesell.
Here.
Commissioner Farber.
Here.
Commissioner Alt.
Here.
Commissioner Van Koveren.
Here.
Commissioner Sydow.
Here.
And Chair Waters.
Here.
So with 8 out of 8 members, we have quorum and we can proceed with business.
All right. Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes, or if there are any corrections, please let us know those as now.
I'd make that motion.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the January 6th meeting. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. All right, moving into new business. It looks like there is none, so we'll move into the administrative items.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. Tonight we have our 2025 annual report. So in the attachment in your packet, we have our memo and 3 exhibits that show the number of cases and the attendance record and the information for all of the commissioners on the board last year. So I'll go through a few of the highlights of the memo, but I won't go through every little piece, but you do have that in your packet, and it's available if you want to go into some of the details. Last year, I'll go through some of the major accomplishments here. We did, as far as comprehensive plan implementation, we did do our annual review of that, and then as far as continuing education activities, we did hold some study sessions on some of the board training that we do annually. Planning staff attended the Kansas Planning Conference in Manhattan and National Planning Conference in Denver last year. As far as review of the development applications that the board did last year, you reviewed 20 land use related applications in 2025, including comprehensive plan amendments, zoning map changes, zoning text amendments, PDDs, conditional use permits, final site plans, and subdivision plats. That compares with 35 cases heard in 2024 and 48 cases heard in 2023, 41 cases heard in 2022, and 44 cases heard in 2021. And there's in the bullets below that on the actual memo, there's each of those in a lot more detail that you could read through. As far as member information, membership currently is at 8 members. So we have Doug Alt, Chad Farber, Dan McFadden, Patrick Mikesell, Justin Rogers, Tom Sydow, Greg Van Koveren, and Carla Waters. Dan McFadden was appointed to the commission in August of 2025. Full membership of the Planning Commission is 9 appointed members, and the Planning Commission currently only has 8 appointed members. 1 outside representative needs to be appointed to fill the vacant position and bring the commission's membership to 9. We currently don't have a youth representative on the board. Carla Waters serves as chair of the commission, and Chad Farber is the vice chair. Patrick Mikesell serves as the commission's representative on the Board of Zoning Appeals, and Carla Waters serves as the commission's representative on the Heritage Commission. And in the exhibits, we do have the attachments that show your attendance records and address and everything, so you do want to take a look at those, see if there's any corrections that staff needs to make before we send that on to City Commission. So go ahead and take a look at that as we move through that. Just let us know if there's any changes that we need to make. As far as planning staff or our staff information, Dean Andrew retired from his position in June, and myself and planning staff continue to provide staff support to the commission, including administering the presentation of applications at the meetings. Our duties include accepting applications, coordinating legal notice, preparing and presenting staff reports, and compiling meeting minutes. So it's myself, Dustin Hers, and Gage Roberts that currently make up planning staff, and we have Daisy, who's our development coordinator, to provide administrative support for the Planning Commission. And Lauren Driscoll is the Director of Community and Development Services, and Margie Clam is the Deputy Director as well. And as far as 2026 goals, staff and the Planning Commission goals include some long-range planning items, which include conduct a review of the comprehensive plan and zoning ordinance, and continue to focus on opportunities for gateway and entryway enhancements, identify suitable areas for construction of additional housing to meet the housing needs of the community. And then as far as zoning administration goals, we are going to work, our staff's going to work to prepare an RFP for a comprehensive plan update and overall zoning code rewrite or update. And by being involved in the conversations, and we're going to start working on some of those early steps as we work through the RFP process, which include things like going through the code, taking a look at things that need to change or need to be cleaned up, and those sort of things. We have a 2018 through 2023 floodplain audit that we're looking at, and got to get a few more pieces cleaned up with that to finish that off, and then complete updates to the city's alcohol codes that provide for the common consumption areas that we implemented. There's a few more remaining small text amendments that we'll need to work through the process and do that to really button that up and get it all finalized. And as far as that goes, we'll go into some of the cases here. I think Justin's going to pull that up on the screen, but we did 5 conditional use permit applications, two zoning map amendments, 2 zoning text amendments, did 1 subdivision regulation amendment, 1 PDD amendment, 2 final site development plans, 4 final plats or replats, and the annual review of the comprehensive plan and review of the CIP. So it's a total of 20 cases. And then Exhibit B is our attendance record, so you can go ahead and take a look at that and see if that all looks correct for each of you. And Exhibit C is the membership roster, and so again, take a look at the address, make sure that that's correct, and spelling and everything on there. And with that, staff's available for questions and corrections or anything you might have.
Okay, thank you, Dustin. Are there any questions for staff?
Dustin, we've had less applications this year or in 25 than we have in the past. Is that due to the number of building projects, or because you're doing more of the implementation of the permits and things in-house?
I don't know the answer to that exactly. I mean, nothing that we know of that is really influencing it. I'll leave it if you know of anything, Dustin. I don't think as far as a trend, though, there's really one thing that you could point to.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any specific thing. I do know that subdivision plats tend to run in cycles where we'll see, a handful or so kind of come through at the same time. And then as those get built out, we may not see any for a while, and then we see another handful. So there are certain kinds of cases that kind of cohort together, and you do see a pattern of that over time. Like, I'm talking over a period of years, right? Longer term. But in terms of like rezonings, conditional use permits, things like that, one thing that we did change is we used to do a fair number of conditional use permits for daycares, which we don't anymore. So that's probably a handful that we used to see on an annual basis that we're not seeing now. So I think the conditional use permits being down, and then not having any major rezonings, and then only having a few final site development plans. I don't know that 20 is on the smaller side in terms of the number of cases that the Planning Commission reviewed, but I will also say, like, 21, 22, 23, 24, like, we did a lot. So that's part of it too, is that we're comparing the 20 cases we did last year to the 40 cases we did in those years, which is a lot.
And some of that also would likely come from COVID, only doing 10 cases in 2020. So you might have a higher amount than usual for those years right after. So it may not really be that we're a lot lower last year. It's just that there was a lot more coming in after COVID, and like Dustin said, there was more plats that went through, and so now a lot of those are getting built out. We've got a lot of plats recorded and stuff that were in the final pieces. So now maybe those are being developed and there's work going on, but not so much at the stage where they're coming in here. Yeah.
Thank you.
So would you think that's a trend, or is it an anomaly?
Do we think that 20 cases is what we'll see in 26?
That's kind of where I was leading.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of stuff is always really hard to tell. Like I can never predict, what it's going to look like coming down the road. I think 20 is probably what we'll see, or somewhere along those lines. Again, because conditional use permits are one of those things that we have over the last 5 years seen more of, and that's because of the daycares and the tattoo parlors and the vape shops. But I sense that the vape shops and the tattoo parlors maybe have hit a saturation where we may not see a lot more of those. That's hard to say, but I think we haven't seen a lot of those. I don't know if we did any of those in 25, but I know like in 24 and 23 we were seeing some of those, and we didn't last year. So those types of things maybe impact what we may see in the future as well.
We know that there are at least likely to be a few plats coming. We know of a few potential rezoning cases that might be coming up, but they're all early, talking through what the steps are, and so those have potential to be coming in. There's also potential that we will do some small text amendments here and there for things that can't really wait until the zoning code rewrite. So we're working through lists of pieces of code that need to be cleaned up or that we'd like to clarify or address those little pieces on their own without waiting a couple years to finally have a rewritten zoning code. So it's likely that you'll see a couple of those at least. Yeah.
Okay, are there any other questions of staff? I have one quick one. On your planning conferences that you attend, I imagine you hear speakers and go to sessions, educational or just hearing, real life situations. Do you guys ever come back with something, oh, we ought to try that? Or
Yeah, you come back with a head full of those, I think. There's a benefit in the direct, things that we could implement, but there's also kind of a benefit to seeing what other places are doing that you can't always bring in and implement here now, but sometimes it gets you thinking about how to approach our own local issues that we might encounter.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely all go to the sessions and we're kind of go on our own path unless there's something that's really pertinent to something that we're working on. We might all go to one, same thing, but
right.
It's kind of everybody chooses their sessions, and so there's a pretty large variety. But yes, it's all basically seeing what other places are doing with usually a specific use case, and they're presenting something. Sometimes it's a little bit more broad about a topic, but then there are a lot of those like, here's how we address this thing in this place,
So
Yep.
Yeah.
for AICP certification, which is the National Planning Association, planning certification, you have continuing education credits, and those continuing education credits require so many hours in certain topics or different areas, such as ethics, such as law, land use law, planning law, things like that. And so a lot of the conferences will have sessions on those specific topics, and then you'll also see a lot of sessions where peers will talk about current projects that they're doing, and some of that's quote unquote cutting edge stuff or changes in the industry, such as accessory dwelling units. We've talked about that with the Planning Commission. That's always something that people talk about. Short-term rentals, maybe storage containers. Solar is a big deal in eastern Kansas because they have solar farms and more of the rural communities. So not so much in the cities, but in kind of the counties around the Kansas City area or in eastern Kansas. And so that's something that's kind of a hot topic right now that different jurisdictions are dealing with. And so a lot of times what happens is we kind of monitor how our colleagues are handling those situations, and then they bring forward what works well, what didn't work well, and the things that do work well, that's when everybody else kind of starts implementing it. But there's always kind of test cases out there, and fortunately we haven't had one of those in a while, but we've been the leader on things in the past. Salina has, in which other people around the state kind of see what we do, and then they'll kind of react to that. But currently, you have ADUs, you have short-term rentals, you have bike programs, you have solar. Like, those are some of the topics that are going on in different communities that we are aware of, we kind of watch. And then as time goes on, when it's appropriate, we'll probably bring forward to you to talk more about it at some point.
All right, thank you. All right. We don't need a vote or any motion on this, correct?
And it would be to approve the annual report with any revisions needed to submit to the city commission.
Okay, does anyone have any revisions? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
So moved. I'd second that.
It's been moved and second to approve the 2025 annual report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, do we have any unfinished business?
We don't have any unfinished business.
Okay, is there anyone online, Dustin?
We do not have anyone on Zoom or in the room from the public.
Okay. When will our next meeting be?
It's scheduled for February 3rd.
Okay.
Glancing at it, I don't think we have anything on the docket, but we'll keep you updated.
Okay, thank you. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.